During NASCAR Countdown, you heard some of the drivers talk about the Nationwide Insurance Dash for Cash. Well, it is back again for 4 races, being Nashville, Kentucky, Iowa, and Texas. And drivers have to compete in every 2010 Nationwide Series race to qualify. $25,000 to the race winner in each of those 4 races. The money can carry over, but if a race winner is not eligible for the $25,000, like we said, it rolls over to the next race. The only driver not eligible in this race is Joey Logano. Now, there's a $75,000 year-end bonus for the driver with the highest cumulative points of those 4 races, but there's a new twist to that, and I think it's a good one. If you drive more than 7 Sprint Cup races, you're not eligible for that year-end bonus. So that means it's going to go to a nationwide-only driver.
Yeah, and that's the way it was set up for, and exactly what should happen.
All right, and there was a fun event Friday, and Nationwide Insurance had a cash money grab machine for charity for the Second Harvest Food Bank. And look at these guys: Justin Allgaier, Carl Edwards, Kelly Byers, Brad Keselowski. They all were trying to stuff as much money as they could into their uniforms so that they could then turn it over to Second Harvest Food Bank. And I never did get a tally on how much actual cash those guys ended up stuffing, but they had some fun, and we're glad we were able to pass it along. All right, let's reset it for you. Joey Logano, still your race leader. It looks like he has selected the inside lane again. Then Kevin Harvick will be right alongside. Brad Keselowski is now up to 3rd. Justin Allgaier 4th. Kyle Busch 5th. Then it's Edwards, Lagasse, Michael Annett, Stephen Wallace, and Reed Sorensen rounding out your top 10.
I think the inside will be a trend, okay? I think that's going to be most of the day.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, and we've talked so many times about drivers that have problems in previous race, how many times they start side by side, and we didn't get this in before. There are Harvick and Logano right there again.
And keep an eye on it again. See if he runs him up a little bit towards the wall to give him that good line going down into turn number 1. They slow, they get the green flag. We're back racing at Nashville Superspeedway. Here he comes up. Oh, he's already cleared him.
Yeah, he didn't give Harvick a chance to even be on the outside of him that time. Great restart. See Brad Keselowski get loose down in 1 and 2.
And it's going to cost him. Teammate. Yeah, Kyle Busch gets around him. So does Justin Allgaier. So he drops 2 spots. That's Carl Edwards right behind the 22.
There is an advantage to being out front right now, or at least toward the front, and you can set your own pace. No pressure, as opposed to this.
That's Paul Menard in the 98 trying to find a way to squeeze between the 2 cars that are in front of him. I don't think it's going to work. That's Colin Brown. He dropped 8 positions. We'll tell you, he was 12th. He dropped back to 20th on the restart. Remember, he avoided John West Townley's spin, but it cost him those 8 spots.
Ricky, that was a great point that you were making about being out front, because you get an aero advantage out there too. You can get a little bit of grip with that, but back here where you're getting nothing makes it really difficult.
How about Johnny Sauter in that 27 car? He's got some big shoes to fill. Greg Biffle has been giving that car some great runs the first 4 races of the year.
Well, Greg Biffle has shown us what a driver he really is, and not to downgrade this team, but they obviously don't have the resources that a lot of others do, but they have certainly shown a lot of good things happening with Greg Biffle behind the wheel. Johnny Sauter is a good replacement too.
How about 4th place battle? That is Keselowski taking a peek underneath. Can he make it stick? It looks like he's got the line, and he clears him.
That's a veteran move there. Kyle Busch surrendered. Said, okay, it's too early. You're faster than me. Take it. I'll see you later on in the race.
Let's get more on the 18 car. Dave, what are they talking about down there?
Well, guys, I don't know if we're going to get a chance to hear from Kyle on the radio here or not, but he's got a very tight race car. The thing that he would like to do, he explains in this transmission.
Guess what? Yep, get down into the corner now and lose the nose, lose it landing, and chatters the front.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a chance before that first stop to, run in what would be decent clean air without a car right in front of us to see how it's going to react.
The big deal is decent clean air. So if he gets passed by Brad Keselowski, not only does it put him back a position, it limits the time that they'll have to evaluate that car out front, which would be the cleanest and most precise way to evaluate what the car's doing.
And let's talk about chatter, what he means when he says the car's chattering.
The chatter is when you go and you find your line on corner entry and you lose the front. It feels like going across the train tracks, folks. But at 170, 180 miles an hour into the corner, it's a whole lot more disruptive. As the rubber lays down, that should get better.
Yeah, and we can see where it's really hurting him is on the exit. See, as he gets right in the center of the corner here, his car's staying down a little bit better this time, but he hasn't been able to keep it down. That's allowed Carl Edwards right behind him to beat him off the corner and down the straightaway then.
And it means he has to use more brake getting in, which hurts the right front tire, and it all sort of compounds from here. He needs that first adjustment.
Yeah. Heard Carl breathe the throttle from his onboard camera. Kyle Busch, that's what it looks like from outside. Brad Keselowski is right in front of them. That's 4th, 5th, and 6th. Nothing has changed up front. There you've got a quick glimpse of them. Logano, Harvick, and Allgaier. Now, because of the rain, what we want to point out is we will have a competition caution at lap number 25. NASCAR officials want to take a good look at the tires because of what we talked about, the fact that all that rubber got washed away this morning.
And boy, is it challenging for the crew to get a read on that first set of tires compared to the second set and the third set.
Yeah, and there is a possibility in talking with NASCAR that they could issue, they have the capabilities of issuing another set of tires if they happen to see excessive wear in this first set.
Well, we'll find out in about 10 more laps when they go to that competition caution on lap number 25. But right now, it's all Joey Logano. He leads Kevin Harvick by a half a second. Justin Allgaier is running in 3rd. Welcome back to the NASCAR Nationwide Series here at Nashville. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Lead is tightened up, as you can see, between Joey Logano and Kevin Harvick, almost nose to tail. While they're continuing this quest, let's talk about what we're going to be doing next Friday as the NASCAR Nationwide Series moves to Phoenix. We'll have qualifying at 5 Eastern on ESPN2, and then the race will be at 9 Eastern, also on ESPN2. And then also we have drag racing, the O'Reilly NHRA Spring Nationals from Houston, qualifying next Saturday at 11 Eastern and Sunday at 8 Eastern with the finals. All of that on ESPN2. And it is getting more interesting. Here comes Kevin Harvick. The last time these two were in this position was 2 weeks ago. The battle for 5th, going to the wire at Bristol, Tennessee, and Harvick dumped him.
Dale and I were talking during the break. You know, this is an interesting scenario because the situation then, Harvick thought he was being chopped, meaning that the driver leading, you know, Joe Logano, was giving him no consideration. There's no time for that right now.
Yeah, but Joey's in a situation right here early in the race. No reason in holding Kevin up. He's running down a little bit. But if he lets Kevin go, does that send a signal that, hey, Kevin won at Bristol by moving him out of the way? So in a tough position.
That's exactly how drivers think, isn't it, Dale?
Well, and we've talked about it. A lot of people went up to Joey after and said, man, if you don't start pushing back, these guys are going to push you right off the track.
Yeah, and I spoke with Joey at the cup test at Charlotte, and he brought it up about it, and he said, you know, yeah, I've got to get a little tougher and have to start pushing back. He said, to get my message across. He said, you know, I want to be respected, but I'm not going to get pushed around.
The observation you made, I liked when you said, okay, if Tony Stewart was driving that 20 car, would Kevin Harvick have done that for 5th place?
Yeah, and I don't think so. And I think that to some degree, Harvick was sizing up Joey Logano, but the fact of the matter is, we don't need to put too much attention toward it because Logano's going to be fine. These guys are doing a good battle.
Battle for 13th as Johnny Sauter gets around Scott Lagasse, give him the spot. Here comes also Brian Scott in the 11 car. He's taking a peek underneath.
He gets forced up out of that groove just one time. It gives the next guy that opportunity to fill that hole.
Jason Leffler also trying to reel his way back into that 4-car battle.
We've reached a point where the drivers are dominating the bottom of the racetrack. It will continue to get better and better. The second groove will continue to get worse or be less of an option.
Yeah, Jason Leffler's the biggest mover so far. He picked up 16 spots since the start of the race.
Leffler is now in 16th after starting 32nd. Coming up on lap traffic, that's Derek Cope in the 73, about to go a lap down. Mark Green, we can tell you, is 1 lap down right now already. He's the first. We've had nobody pull off as far as starting parks.